Who really pulls the strings? 10 societies, unimaginable power. The truth is hidden in plain sight. Welcome to The Purple Files. If you enjoy our videos, please consider subscribing to the channel. Let's get right into it. Kicking off our countdown at number 10, we delve into the enigmatic world of the Rosicrucians, a society shrouded in layers of mysticism, esoteric knowledge, and persistent rumors of hidden influence. Are they merely quiet keepers of ancient wisdom, dedicated to spiritual enlightenment? Or could their secretive pursuits position them as subtle yet potent architects of fate, shaping thought and culture from behind the veil? The Rosicrucian enigma first captivated Europe in the early 17th century, with the anonymous publication of 3 extraordinary manifestos: the Fama Fraternitatis Rosicrucis, the Confessio Fraternitatis, and the Chemical Wedding of Christian Rosencreutz. These texts announced the existence of a secret order founded, it was claimed, over a century earlier by a German noble and mystic named Christian Rosencreutz. According to the legend, Rosencreutz had traveled to the east, acquiring profound esoteric knowledge from wise masters, which he then brought back to Europe to establish a brotherhood dedicated to the reformation of mankind, both spiritually and intellectually. Their symbol, the rose and cross, became an emblem of hidden truths and spiritual alchemy. The stated aims of the Rosicrucians were lofty: to understand the divine, to unlock the secrets of nature through alchemy and other esoteric arts, to achieve spiritual illumination, and to guide humanity towards a golden age of wisdom and harmony. They were said to possess knowledge of forgotten sciences, healing arts, and the transmutation of not just metals, but of the human soul itself. Membership was, and in many ways remains, elusive, based on initiation and a commitment to a life of study, secrecy, and service to these esoteric ideals. The idea of hidden adepts, or invisible masters, guiding the order from behind the scenes has always been a core part of their mystique. While the historical existence of Christian Rosicrucians and the original brotherhood described in the manifestos is debated by scholars, some suggest it was an elaborate intellectual allegory or a literary hoax designed to spur philosophical and religious reform. The impact of these documents was undeniable. They sparked a fervent Rosicrucian enlightenment, inspiring countless thinkers, mystics, and artists, and leading to the formation of various groups claiming Rosicrucian lineage. The influence of Rosicrucian thought is often traced through its connections to and perceived impact on other esoteric movements, most notably Freemasonry, which adopted some of its symbolism and philosophical tenets. Theories abound that Rosicrucian adepts have subtly guided developments in science, philosophy, and even political thought for centuries. Modern Rosicrucian organizations, such as the ancient mystical order Rosicrucis, or AMORC, and others, continue to offer paths of esoteric study, claiming to perpetuate these ancient traditions. For those who believe in a hidden hand shaping world events, the Rosicrucians' emphasis on secret knowledge and the transformation of society places them firmly on the list of influential orders. Their focus might be less on overt political control and more on the subtle, long-term shaping of human consciousness and destiny. Skeptics argue that the Rosicrucians' power lies more in the realm of myth and cultural influence than in any tangible, coordinated control. Yet, the very ambiguity surrounding their origins and the persistent allure of their secret wisdom keep the questions alive. Are the Rosicrucians simply a historical curiosity and a path for personal spiritual seeking? Or do their ancient manifestos and enduring legacy hint at a deeper, more clandestine role in the unfolding drama of human history, subtly nudging humanity towards a destiny only they can perceive? The mystery of the Rosy Cross endures. At number 9, we unearth the legend of the poor fellow soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon, better known as the Knights Templar. For nearly 2 centuries, this powerful medieval military order was a dominant force in Christendom, but their dramatic downfall has only fueled centuries of speculation. Do the Knights Templar represent merely a fascinating chapter in history? Or does their legacy, and perhaps even their hidden influence, echo through to modern times, subtly shaping our world? Founded around the year 1119, in the aftermath of the First Crusade, the Templars' initial purpose was to protect Christian pilgrims on their journey to the Holy Land. Endorsed by the Catholic Church and granted significant privileges, they rapidly grew in power and wealth. They became an elite fighting force, renowned for their bravery and discipline on the battlefields of the Crusades. But beyond their military prowess, the Templars established a sophisticated international network, effectively creating one of the earliest forms of banking. They managed vast estates, fleets of ships, and were trusted with the fortunes of kings and nobles, making them incredibly wealthy and influential across Europe and the Near East. However, their immense power and autonomy eventually became their undoing. King Philip IV of France, deeply indebted to the order and covetous of their wealth, orchestrated their downfall. On Friday, October 13th, 1307, a date many believe is the origin of the unlucky Friday the 13th superstition, Philip had Templars across France arrested simultaneously. They were charged with a litany of shocking offences, including heresy, idolatry, allegedly worshipping a figure known as Baphomet, spitting on the cross, and engaging in blasphemous rituals. Under brutal torture, many Templars confessed to these charges, confessions that were often later recanted. Pope Clement V, under pressure from Philip, officially dissolved the order in 1312. The last Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, was burned at the stake in Paris in 1314, famously cursing the king and the Pope from the flames. But did the Templars truly vanish? This is where history blurs into legend and conspiracy theory. Rumours have persisted for centuries that many Templars escaped the arrests, taking with them their legendary treasure, sacred relics, perhaps even the Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant, and their esoteric knowledge. Some theories suggest they fled to Scotland, Portugal, or Switzerland, continuing their order in secret. The Templar fleet, it is said, was never fully accounted for. This narrative of secret survival is central to theories of their enduring influence. Many believe the Templars' knowledge and organizational principles were absorbed into other secret societies, most notably Freemasonry, which incorporates Templar degrees and symbolism. Some theorists propose that the Templars' sophisticated banking practices laid the groundwork for modern international finance, and that their descendants or successor organizations continue to wield financial power from the shadows. The idea that the Templars guarded profound secrets, perhaps about the true nature of Christianity or ancient technologies, and that this knowledge is still protected by a hidden lineage, is a cornerstone of many esoteric beliefs. Numerous modern organizations today claim some form of Templar heritage, though direct historical continuity is highly debated by mainstream historians. Yet, the image of the Knights Templar, the warrior monks, the international bankers, the holders of arcane secrets, betrayed and driven underground, remains incredibly potent. Are they simply a romantic historical legend? Or do the echoes of their ancient power, their wealth, and their hidden knowledge still resonate, influencing the corridors of power in ways we can only begin to imagine? The mystery of the Templar legacy continues to captivate and intrigue. Entering our list at number 8 is an organization that operates within one of the world's oldest institutions, the Catholic Church, Opus Dei, which translates from Latin as Work of God. Officially known as the Prelature of the Holy Cross and Opus Dei, it teaches that ordinary life, particularly professional work and family responsibilities, is a path to holiness. But despite its recognized status, Opus Dei has long been shrouded in controversy and suspicion, with critics and theorists alike questioning whether its immense reach translates into a shadowy global influence. Founded in Spain in 1928 by a Catholic priest, José María Escriva, later canonized as Saint José María Escriva by Pope John Paul II, Opus Dei's central message is that everyone is called to be a saint, not just priests and nuns, but lay people in their everyday secular lives. Members are encouraged to strive for excellence in their professions, seeing their work as an offering to God and a means of sanctifying the world from within. Opus Dei provides spiritual formation and guidance to its members, who include men and women, celibate and married from all walks of life, though it has a notable presence in professions like law, medicine, education, finance, and politics. The structure of Opus Dei includes priests incardinated into the prelature, as well as lay members. Among the laity, there are numeraries, who typically live in Opus Dei centers and commit to celibacy to dedicate themselves fully to the apostolate, and supernumeraries, who are usually married and live with their families, integrating Opus Dei's spiritual practices into their existing lives. There are also associates, who are celibate but live with their family. This structured approach, combined with a strong emphasis on spiritual discipline and obedience, has led to both admiration for its dedication and criticism for what some perceive as intense control over its members' lives. Controversies surrounding Opus Dei are numerous. It has faced accusations of aggressive recruitment tactics, particularly targeting young people. Critics point to its perceived secrecy, with some former members describing a culture of discretion that borders on clandestine operation. The practice of corporal mortification, such as the use of a siliceous chain worn on the thigh, or discipline, a small whip, though presented by Opus Dei as a voluntary penitential practice common in Christian tradition, has drawn considerable negative attention and fueled its mysterious image. Furthermore, Opus Dei's significant wealth, derived from donations and the successful professional lives of its members, and its alleged influence within the Vatican and in secular governments and financial institutions, have led to theories that it operates as a powerful conservative force shaping global policy from behind the scenes. Dan Brown's novel, The Da Vinci Code, though fictional, catapulted a particularly sinister image of Opus Dei into popular consciousness. Defenders and members of Opus Dei vehemently reject these characterizations. They emphasize the transparency of their mission, which is openly stated as spreading the universal call to holiness. They argue that the discretion practiced by members is about humility and avoiding ostentation, not about nefarious secrecy. They highlight their charitable works, educational initiatives, and the positive impact they believe they have on society by encouraging ethical behavior and professional excellence. They maintain that their influence is spiritual and moral, not a coordinated bid for temporal power. So, is Opus Dei simply a dedicated religious institution offering a particular spiritual path within Catholicism, striving to infuse the secular world with Christian values? Or do its disciplined structure, influential membership, considerable resources, and culture of discretion point to a more calculated, behind-the-world stage, subtly exerting its influence in corridors of power? The debate over the true nature and reach of the work of God continues to make it a subject of intense speculation. Sliding into our number 7 spot is the enigmatic and highly exclusive Bohemian Grove. Every July, some of the most powerful men in the United States, and indeed from around the world, gather for a 2-week encampment in a remote 2,700-acre redwood forest in Monte Rio, California. Officially, it's a private retreat for the elite to escape the pressures of their public lives, network, and enjoy artistic pursuits. But the intense secrecy, bizarre rituals, and high-powered guest lists have fueled persistent theories that Bohemian Grove is far more than just a summer camp for the rich and famous. Could it be a place where global policies are decided and future leaders are chosen, all under the guise of revelry? The Bohemian Club, which owns and operates the Grove, was founded in San Francisco in 1872 by a group of journalists, artists, and musicians. Over time, however, its membership shifted to predominantly include prominent businessmen, high-ranking government officials, including many former and future United States presidents, military leaders, and media moguls. Membership is all male and highly coveted. The motto of the Grove is "Weaving spiders come not here," supposedly meaning that outside worries and business dealings are to be left behind. The annual encampment features a wide array of activities from lectures and concerts to theatrical performances. However, the most notorious event is the cremation of care ceremony, which takes place on the first Saturday of the encampment. This elaborate theatrical ritual involves robed figures, chanting, pyrotechnics, and the symbolic burning of an effigy called dull care at the foot of a 40-foot owl statue, which serves as the grove's central symbol and is associated with knowledge. While members describe it as a cathartic, tongue-in-cheek tradition meant to banish worldly concerns, outside observers and conspiracy theorists see it as something far more sinister. Perhaps a mock human sacrifice, or a pagan ritual with occult significance. It is this combination of extreme secrecy, photography and recording are strictly forbidden, and the grounds are heavily secured, and the sheer concentration of power that fuels the theories. Critics argue that it's naive to believe these influential men don't discuss business or politics. They point to instances where major policy decisions or political candidacies seem to have been informally launched or solidified at the Grove. For example, it's reported that the Manhattan Project, which developed the atomic bomb, was discussed there in the 1940s. Is the Grove a place where a shadowy elite coordinates its agenda? Far from public scrutiny, influencing global events under the cover of ancient redwoods and peculiar ceremonies? Defenders of the Bohemian Grove insist it is simply a private club where powerful men can relax, bond, and enjoy nature and the arts, free from the pressures of their public lives. They dismiss the conspiracy theories as wild exaggerations, arguing that the rituals are harmless traditions and that any discussions of business or politics are informal and no different from what might occur at any exclusive retreat. They maintain that the primary purpose is camaraderie and recreation. Yet the image of the world's elite engaging in secretive rituals in a secluded forest continues to raise questions. Is Bohemian Grove merely an anachronistic men's club, a place for powerful figures to unwind? Or is it a clandestine meeting ground where the true architects of global power gather to script the next act of our collective future, hidden amongst the ancient trees and beneath the watchful eyes of the great owl? The secrecy ensures the speculation will continue. At number 6, we examine an organization that, by its very name and composition, invites scrutiny and suspicion. The Trilateral Commission. Founded in 1973 by banker David Rockefeller, this non-governmental, non-partisan discussion group brings together influential private citizens from North America, Europe, and Japan, now expanded to include more of the Asia-Pacific region. Its stated goal is to foster substantive dialogue and closer cooperation on shared problems facing these key industrialized areas. However, for decades, critics and conspiracy theorists have viewed the Trilateral Commission as something far more ambitious and potentially ominous, a driving force behind the creation of a new world order or a one-world government controlled by a globalist elite. The Trilateral Commission was established during a period of significant strain in relations between the United States, European nations, and Japan. The idea was that by bringing together top leaders from politics, though typically those not currently in office, business, finance, academia, and the media, usually around 300 to 400 members, they could privately discuss and seek solutions to complex global challenges, such as economic stability, international security, and resource management. Membership is by invitation only, and its meetings, like those of the Bilderberg Group, are held off the record to encourage frank discussion. It is precisely this combination of elite membership and private, closed-door meetings that fuels the conspiracy theories. Critics argue that the Trilateral Commission is not merely a discussion group, but a shadow government where unelected and unaccountable individuals formulate policies that are then implemented by their members or associates who move into high government positions. He points to the significant number of Trilateral Commission members who have served in presidential administrations in the United States and in top governmental roles in Europe and Japan. As evidence of its pervasive influence, the organization is often accused of promoting globalist agendas that undermine national sovereignty, pushing for economic policies that benefit multinational corporations at the expense of ordinary citizens, and generally working towards a world managed by a select, powerful few. Defenders of the Trilateral Commission argue that these fears are unfounded. They maintain that the organization has no executive power and simply provides a valuable forum for influential people from different countries and sectors to share perspectives and deepen their understanding of complex global issues. They assert that the off-the-record nature of their discussions is essential for candid dialogue, not for secret plotting. They also point out that their reports and some meeting summaries are publicly available, countering claims of absolute secrecy. The aim, they say, is not to govern the world, but to improve understanding and cooperation among the regions it represents. Despite these assurances, the Trilateral Commission remains a prime target for those who believe that a powerful, unelected elite is secretly steering the course of global events. Its focus on international cooperation and its membership roster, filled with figures from the highest echelons of power and influence, make it a perennial suspect in theories about the hidden architects of our global future. Is it a benign think tank fostering international understanding, or a cabal of globalists methodically working to forge a new world order in secret, beyond the reach of democratic accountability? The debate over the Trilateral Commission's true purpose and power continues. Reaching number 5 on our list is an organization that, while not operating in complete secrecy, wields an undeniable and often criticized influence on United States foreign policy: the Council on Foreign Relations. Frequently referred to as the CFR, based in New York City, with an office in Washington, D.C., this independent, non-partisan membership organization, think tank, and publisher has such a profound impact on America's role in the world that many researchers and critics have labeled it a hidden government. But is it truly dictating policy, or is it merely a highly effective forum for discussion and analysis? The Council on Foreign Relations was founded in 1921 in the aftermath of World War I. Its stated mission is to promote understanding of foreign policy and America's role in the world through open debate and the publication of influential analysis. It boasts a membership of around 5,000 individuals, drawn from the highest echelons of government, business, finance, academia, law, and media. Membership is by invitation only and is seen as a mark of significant standing in foreign policy circles. The Council publishes the highly respected journal Foreign Affairs, which is a leading forum for discussion of international relations and United States foreign policy. The sheer number of high-ranking government officials who have been members of the Council on Foreign Relations is staggering. Secretaries of State, directors of the Central Intelligence Agency, international bankers, media executives, and numerous presidents have held membership. This has led critics to argue that the CFFR is not just an influential think tank, but the primary recruiting ground for top government positions, ensuring that United States foreign policy remains consistent with the interests of the elite establishment it represents, regardless of which political party is in power. Theories abound that the CFR sets the foreign policy agenda behind closed doors, with its study groups and task forces developing policies that are then adopted by the official government. Some claim it's the American branch of a larger, shadowy international group aiming for global governance. The Council on Foreign Relations, for its part, maintains that it is an independent, non-profit organization dedicated to providing a forum for informed discussion and producing valuable research. They state that their goal is to improve understanding of critical foreign policy choices facing the United States and the world, not to dictate policy. They emphasize that they host a wide range of speakers and publish diverse viewpoints, and that their members hold varied opinion. They see themselves as a resource, not a shadow government. Yet, the perception of overwhelming influence persists. When so many individuals who shape and execute foreign policy are drawn from or closely affiliated with a single private organization, questions about its power and accountability are inevitable. Is the Council on Foreign Relations simply a vital hub for intellectual exchange and policy development in a complex world? Or does its pervasive presence in the halls of power suggest a deeper, more directive role? A hidden government, subtly guiding the ship of state from just outside the official structures of power? The debate over its true influence remains a central point for those trying to understand who really shapes America's destiny on the global stage. At number 4, we enter the ivy-covered walls of Yale University to confront one of the most notorious and secretive collegiate societies in the world, Skull and Bones. Also known as Order 322 or the Brotherhood of Death, this society, founded in 1832, inducts a mere 15 seniors each year. Its intense secrecy, bizarre alleged rituals, and astonishingly influential alumni network have led many to believe it's far more than a fraternity. They see it as a cradle for America's shadow elite, a breeding ground for a ruling class that shapes the nation's destiny. The Society's headquarters on the Yale campus is a windowless, ominous-looking building known as the Tomb. What goes on inside is a closely guarded secret, but leaks and rumors over the decades have painted a strange picture. Initiates, known as bonesmen, are said to lie in a coffin during their initiation, recount their personal and sexual histories to their fellow members, and engage in other rituals designed to forge an unbreakable bond of loyalty. The Society is rumored to possess macabre artifacts, including the alleged skulls of historical figures like Geronimo and Pancho Villa. Members are sworn to secrecy about the Society's rituals and inner workings, a vow they appear to take very seriously throughout their lives. What truly sets Skull and Bones apart is the remarkable success and influence of its alumni. Bonesmen have risen to the highest levels of American society, including multiple United States presidents, such as George H.W. Bush and his son George W. Bush, who famously ran against fellow bonesman John Kerry in 2004, Supreme Court justices, cabinet members, intelligence agency chiefs, titans of finance and industry, and media moguls. This dense network of powerful individuals, all bound by their shared secret experience in the tomb, has led to theories that Skull and Bones functions as a kind of informal, hereditary aristocracy, whose members look out for each other and work to advance a common agenda, often hidden from public view. Conspiracy theories portray Skull and Bones as a key component of a global power structure, perhaps even a branch of the Illuminati, grooming its members for positions of power to manipulate national and international events. The lifelong bonds and the expectation of mutual support among bonesmen are seen as mechanisms for maintaining control over key institutions. Critics argue that such a secretive and exclusive network, with its roots in one of America's most elite universities, inherently undermines democratic principles by creating a privileged class operating outside public accountability. Skeptics, while acknowledging the impressive alumni list and the networking advantages, suggest that its direct influence might be overstated. They argue it could be more of an old boys' club whose members achieve success due to their existing elite backgrounds and Yale education, with the Society providing an additional layer of connection rather than being the primary engine of a grand conspiracy. However, even these skeptics often concede that the concentration of power within its ranks is significant. Is Skull and Bones merely an eccentric, albeit powerful college fraternity whose members happen to become successful? Or is it a carefully cultivated breeding ground for a shadow elite, a secret order that has placed its members in key positions of power for nearly 2 centuries, subtly guiding the course of American and even global events from within the tomb and beyond? The silence of its members ensures that Skull and Bones remains one of America's most enduring and unsettling. Claiming the number 3 spot is the Bilderberg Group, an annual off-the-record conference that brings together some of the most influential and powerful figures from North America and Europe. Since its first meeting in 1954, the extreme secrecy surrounding these gatherings has led to intense speculation and accusations that the Bilderberg Group is not just a discussion forum, but a clandestine summit where global policies are decided, future leaders are anointed, and the fate of the world is shaped by an unelected elite, far from public scrutiny. The Bilderberg meetings were initiated by figures including Polish political émigré Joseph Ratzinger, concerned about growing anti-Americanism in Western Europe. The stated purpose was to promote Atlanticism, strengthen United States-European relations, and prevent another world war by fostering understanding between the political, financial, and industrial leaders of these regions. Each year, approximately 120 to 150 political leaders, experts from industry, finance, academia, and the media, are invited to attend. The location of the meeting changes each year and the guest list is made public, but the proceedings are strictly confidential under the Chatham House rule, meaning participants are free to use information received, but neither the identity nor the affiliation of the speaker nor that of any other participant may be revealed. It is this impenetrable wall of secrecy that fuels the conspiracy theories. Critics argue that it's inconceivable that such a high-powered assembly of individuals, including royalty, prime ministers, chancellors, CEOs of multinational corporations, heads of international banks, and media barons, would gather simply for an informal chat. They contend that the Bilderberg Group functions as a shadow world government, making decisions on global issues that are then implemented through its well-connected attendees when they return to their respective spheres of influence. Issues like the creation of the euro, military interventions, and global economic strategies are often cited as topics allegedly steered by Bilderberg consensus. The official line from the Bilderberg Group is that these meetings are informal discussions designed to encourage candid dialogue among influential people. They insist that no resolutions are proposed, no votes are taken, and no policy statements are issued. The aim, they say, is simply to allow leaders to speak frankly about major issues without the constraints of public posturing or media spin, thereby fostering better understanding. They argue that the privacy is essential for this kind of open exchange. However, for those wary of concentrated, unaccountable power, these explanations do little to quell suspicion. The idea that future global policies could be shaped, or at least significantly influenced, in secret meetings by a select group of the world's most powerful individuals without any democratic oversight or public input remains deeply troubling to many. Is the Bilderberg Group a benign forum for high-level networking and frank discussion, or is it a cabal of global power brokers secretly charting the course of our collective future? The locked doors and silent attendees ensure the questions and the accusations will persist. At number 2, we explore one of the oldest, largest, and most widely recognized secret societies in the world, Freemasonry. With millions of members globally and a history stretching back centuries, the Masons present themselves as a fraternal organization dedicated to self-improvement, charitable works, and the moral betterment of its members through a system of allegorical rituals and symbols. Yet, despite their public emphasis on philanthropy and brotherhood, Freemasons have been at the heart of countless conspiracy theories, accused of everything from occult practices to secretly manipulating governments and orchestrating major historical events. Modern Freemasonry, as we know it, formally emerged with the founding of the first Grand Lodge in London in 1717, though its origins are often traced to the stonemason guilds of the Middle Ages who built Europe's cathedrals. Its core tenets revolve around principles like brotherly love, relief, charity, and truth. Membership is traditionally open to men who believe in a supreme being, regardless of their specific religion, and who are of good character. Freemasons use allegorical rituals, primarily based on the biblical construction of King Solomon's temple, to teach moral and ethical lessons through a series of degrees. Their symbols, such as the square and compasses, the all-seeing eye, often mistakenly attributed solely to them, and the letter G, are widely recognized but often misunderstood, adding to their mystique. The secrecy surrounding Masonic rituals and the oaths of obligation taken by members have historically been a major source of suspicion and controversy. Anti-Masonic sentiment has flared up at various points in history, with critics accusing the order of being anti-Christ, politically subversive, or even engaged in devil worship. The sheer number of influential figures throughout history who have been Freemasons, including presidents, prime ministers, scientists, artists, and business leaders, has fueled theories that the Masons operate as a hidden network, pulling strings behind the scenes of global power. Events like the French Revolution, the founding of the United States, and various political movements have been attributed, in part or in whole, to Masonic influence by some theorists. Freemasons vehemently deny these accusations. They emphasize their extensive charitable activities, running hospitals, supporting educational initiatives, and providing disaster relief, contributing billions of dollars to various causes. They assert that their rituals are symbolic and educational, not occultic, and that discussions of partisan politics and sectarian religion are strictly forbidden within their lodges to maintain harmony. They portray Freemasonry as a system of morality that promotes personal growth, integrity, and service to the community. They argue that the secrecy is about protecting the traditional methods of their teachings and allowing members to explore their allegories without external ridicule or misinterpretation. So, are the Freemasons simply a well-meaning global brotherhood dedicated to self-improvement and charitable endeavors, their secrecy misunderstood and their influence benign? Or does their ancient lineage, their private rituals, their powerful global network, and their roster of influential members point to a deeper, more clandestine agenda, a subtle force shaping society according to principles known only to its initiated few? The enduring mystery of what truly happens behind the closed doors of Masonic lodges keeps them firmly entrenched in the lore of global conspiracies. And finally, taking the number one spot, the name that has become virtually synonymous with secret societies and world domination: the Illuminati. For centuries, this elusive group has been the ultimate subject of conspiracy theories. Blamed for everything from wars and revolutions to economic collapses and the rise of a supposed New World Order. But does the Illuminati, as a cohesive, all-powerful organization, truly exist today? Or is it a potent myth, a phantom menace onto which we project our deepest fears about hidden control? The historical Illuminati was a real, albeit short-lived, Enlightenment-era secret society founded on May 1st, 1776 in Bavaria, Germany, by a professor named Adam Weishaupt. This group, the Bavarian Illuminati, aimed to oppose superstition, prejudice, religious influence over public life, and state abuses of power. Its goals were to enlighten minds and improve the world by cultivating reason and moral virtue. Weishaupt's order adopted a hierarchical structure and used secret symbols and pseudonyms. However, due to internal conflicts and suppression by the Bavarian government, which saw it as a threat, the original Bavarian Illuminati was effectively dismantled and banned by 1785. Despite its historical demise, the legend of the Illuminati not only survived, but grew exponentially. In the centuries since, the name Illuminati has been co-opted and transformed into a catch-all term for a shadowy, all-powerful cabal believed to be secretly manipulating world events. This modern mythical Illuminati is often depicted as having infiltrated governments, financial institutions, and media organizations worldwide, working tirelessly to establish a totalitarian one-world government, often referred to as the New World Order. Symbols like the all-seeing eye on a pyramid found on the United States $1 bill, though its Masonic and historical origins are complex and predate the Bavarian Illuminati's use, pentagrams, and other esoteric imagery are frequently cited as evidence of their hidden presence and influence. Theories about the modern Illuminati are vast and varied. They are said to use secret societies like Freemasonry as fronts, to control central banks, to orchestrate crises to consolidate their power, and to promote decadent or distracting popular culture to keep the masses docile. Prominent politicians, business leaders, and even celebrities are often accused of being members, their actions supposedly dictated by this hidden hand. The internet has become a fertile ground for these theories, with countless websites, videos, and forums dedicated to exposing the Illuminati's alleged activities. From a mainstream historical and academic perspective, there is no credible evidence that the Bavarian Illuminati survived its suppression, or that a global organization of that name currently exists and wields the kind of power attributed to it. Skeptics argue that the Illuminati myth thrives on misinterpretations of symbols, a human tendency to find patterns in chaos, and a deep-seated distrust of authority. They point out that the very idea of such a perfectly coordinated, centuries-old global conspiracy operating in absolute secrecy is highly improbable. Yet, the allure of the Illuminati persists. It represents the ultimate hidden power, the unseen puppeteers pulling the strings of our world. Whether a historical footnote magnified into a global bogeyman, or a genuine, elusive force still operating in the deepest shadows, the Illuminati remains the undisputed king of secret society conspiracies. The idea that an all-seeing eye is indeed still watching over us, guiding humanity towards an unknown destiny, continues to haunt the collective imagination. And there you have it, a journey through 10 of the most talked about secret societies and influential groups, often accused of pulling the strings of global power. From ancient orders to modern forums, the allure of hidden knowledge and unseen influence is undeniable. The truth is, power is complex, and the lines between influence, discussion, and outright control can often seem blurred, especially when secrecy is involved. Whether these groups are truly architects of a global agenda or simply subjects of our enduring fascination with the unknown, they force us to question who holds power and how it's wielded. And that is it. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the Purple Files, click the like button, and drop a comment down below. More videos to come, and until then, thanks for watching.